What's up, guys? Belligerent here with a video for you on a new game that I've been checking out. It's not exactly new. I've played it a little bit before, but in the past I wasn't quite ready to jump into it as heavy as I thought I needed to kind of talk about it. And I was in the process of giving Bloodline another shot. But it's time to take a look at it. I'm a little behind the curve because it's been out for a minute, but it's really good. I think you're going to enjoy it, especially if you like Bloodline. I know some of you may find this that didn't come from Bloodline, but most of my followers did come from Bloodline. The game is called Eternal Evolution, and the gameplay is very similar to Bloodline in that it's the live action kind of combat instead of the something that's more like Raid Shadow Legends where it's turn-based combat. Now, this is kind of the live action combat, and it's really clean and it's really good. So let's hop into here. I'm going to show you around. I'll try to keep the comparisons to Bloodline to a minimum so this video can kind of just stand on its own. I just want to give you a quick run through on what this game offers, and I think those of you that are already following my channel are going to really like some of what this has. So you see here, as soon as we jump in, we kind of got this little home screen where you see that kind of iconic, I guess, kind of what you're used to from an idol battler, right? We can collect what they've been doing since I've started. Okay, so this game is, first of all, graphics phenomenal, beautiful. We can jump in here and look at some of these heroes, which, by the way, you can change this view if you want to give them a little bit bigger portraits. But when we jump in, right, you have this nice little intro that doesn't necessarily interrupt anything. Yes, I'm talking about Bloodline animations, and you can do what you need to do. Look at the skills, level them up, kind of all from the same screen. Okay. So I said I was going to avoid some comparisons, but let's make some comparisons to what my channel typically covers, which is Bloodline. So let's think of some of the things we wish Bloodline had. How about varying stats that actually matter, right? Well, you see this champion right here, his abilities scale off of attack, okay? But if we go to this one scales off of HP, right? So it's not just strength, 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 and more strength until you bash your head up against the wall. This one right here scales off of defense, okay? So a wide variety of builds that you can do and ways to gear them. Speaking of gear, let's jump in here and look at the gear and the different, you're not going to be able to see it all, but some of the different gear. This is a brand new account for me. I've been playing it like 2 days at this point, completely free to play, so not a whole lot of progression on my part. But if you look at some of these, right, they have different, well, weapons all have attack. Let's see if we can find something that doesn't here. Here, some of these can vary. So you have, they have these different stats in this game called EX attack, EX defense. Here we have crit damage reduction. So different ways to spec out your champions. And like I just told you on their skills, you're going to need all of those different specs, right? They also come with the substats. You see this one right here. The Guardian's helmet, the gold one there, has crit damage reduction as its main stat. And then it has an EXX HP as its substat. And if I forge it up, it has room for another substat. So a nice variety of gear as opposed to what we're used to seeing from Bloodline, which is just green, blue, purple, red, yellow. Yeah, I said that backwards, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Okay. What else would make us enjoy the fruits of our labor from Bloodline more? How about bosses with a point? Okay, so in Bloodline we have the expedition bosses that you can go raid that don't really do much except for give you a little bit of diamonds each day. It takes 40 minutes to even get to the boss, so it's really kind of time consuming it doesn't produce enough resources to justify that amount of time. It just kind of just doesn't respect your time, and it's very unfulfilling at the end. Well, this game has 3 different bosses that I would put in to that category. You see on this map here, okay, we have Disa Caves. These are all over on the left side of the screen. Actually might be a little bit behind me. But we have Disa Caves, Terror Dome, which I haven't unlocked on this account yet, and Kinsaro Marsh, right? And they each have a different type of boss. And here's the really nice thing, okay? Each one of them requires a different type of composition. For example, the Disa Caves boss, you want to run multi-hit champions because he has this big shield, and you have to hit it a certain amount of times before it reaches the explosion point. If it explodes, it wipes out your team, so you can't just have champions that are doing 1 hit at a time. Okay, in Kinsaro Marsh, you have this spider boss where you need to build a composition of AoE damage, because there's a lot of little spiders running around. You have to do the AoE damage on them. If you don't, they're going to end up killing you. Okay, and each one of these, oh, and the Terror Dome one, even though I can't open it right now, is it's a melee champion composition that you have to run, because he's inside almost like this little ring, like a fighting ring. And if you're outside of the ring, you're doing way super less damage. So it's basically a melee champion composition that you need to build to do max damage to him. Okay. Now each one of these gives you different things that you need. This gives you gear. We just looked at all, at the different gear. Not all of the different gear, but you see there are even sets. So this one is like a vigorous set. If you have 2 pieces of the vigorous set equipped on your champion, it increases HP by 15%. Just that particular one that I'm looking at. But so you come to this cave and you can grind out gear, and that's one of the grinds. Okay. Kinsaro Marsh is you're grinding out these commanders, and then Terror Dome, you're grinding out, I forget what they're called, prototypes. There we go. Speaking of commanders, you have commanders in this game. Now I only have a couple. Again, this is new, but we can drop down this list, and you can kind of see, even though it's a little dark, a lot of the list of different commanders, and each commander supports a different composition type or a different champion type. Rhoda, for example, is an AoE champion. If your champions hit, I think it's 3 at it. Let's see here, we can pop this up. When a hero's energy skill hits 3 or more enemies, it will summon the Heartseeker fighter jet. So basically, if you hit 3 or more enemies with an ability, your commander shows up. Not that the actual person shows up, but this little plane shows up and sprays the whole field with damage. This guy does something different. So when a skill of a back row hero or middle row hero hits the same target 3 times, additional damage based on percentage of the hero's attack is dealt. So that commander is good for those multi-hit champions we were talking about in Disa Caves there. So depth to this game, and there's more. There's these little missions you can send your champions on. Okay. One of the things I love most about this is that it respects your time. Okay, so when you come in here to grind this out, you don't have to grind it out over and over and over. So if you want to grind one out, like I want to grind a level that I've already done, right? If I come in here and I challenge it, it asks me how many times, and you see I have these little, they call them stamina, they're stamina pills or whatever. I can choose how many times. Now here's the cool part. If I run this up at all the way up to 10, I'm only going to fight the boss once. It gives me the rewards as if I fought him 10 times based on that one fight. Another place where that really kicks in is in the arena. Okay, so if we go into the arena and I do a fight real quick, okay, so you come in here, and for me, I don't know about everybody else, but arenas are, it's kind of fun because you get to pitch, you know, you get to put yourself against other players, so it's kind of PvP, but at the same time it's kind of boring. but you have to do some of them to get like the rewards for the day or for the week or whatever. So if we come in here and we challenge this person, right, you see this little fast forward arrow over here. I hit it and it instantly gives me the results. I don't have to wait for the fight to actually play itself out. Now, you obviously can watch it if you want to, if you kind of want to learn how your composition is interacting or something like that, but you can just do with it. They call it a sweep in this game, and you can do that in several areas. There's an elite campaign here where you can earn shards, and you see down there at the bottom it says sweep. So once I've beat that once, I can just go in there and sweep it. You see I have 2 remaining challenges. Okay, so I could just sweep that for the 2 remaining challenges that I have. I don't have to actually go back through the whole entire fight. Okay, and it does have other modes similar to some of the things that you might be used to. I already did Wastelands, so I can't show you that, but it's like a little map. I would equate it almost to Dungeon Descent, except for you don't have all these hidden random tiles. You just have a map, and it usually has like 3 or 4 paths that you can take, so you choose the one that you want to choose there. Soul Mine is just kind of a way to grind out some resources. It's almost just like a separate campaign mode is essentially how it runs. But once you progress to a certain spot in the regular campaign, it unlocks faction soul mines where you can only use champions from those specific factions. So that's really kind of neat. It's got this Rise of Hero thing. This one is unlocking, it looks like, in 12 hours, but where you can earn this hero. So, and you can earn multiple copies of this hero. Now, the one thing that this is missing, I think almost every game in this genre that I've ever played, except for Bloodline, is missing, is we don't have the companions. There is guild. When I was playing it before, I saw there was a guild war mode coming, but I haven't had a chance to check that out. So just a really good solid game, and I'm not even touching on all of it. Ancient Altar is another way to do it. Now, I will say it is... Oh, I'm going to do this completely free to play. I know I've said that in the past, but this time I'm just doing this all completely free to play, especially until I find something that I am sure I want to invest in. But Eternal Evolution is a very solid game, so I I have spent some money on it in the past, but on this account, it's all free to play. Oh, also another cool thing here that I thought was really cool is you see here you can earn these different resources, but if you look at that top one, complete story stage 712, and I don't know how far it goes or if it ever stops, but that just keeps continuing to go. It's like almost its own built-in challenge fund, which they do have a version of in their store. Okay. They call it the growth fund. It's actually cheaper than the one on Bloodline, but I mean, they're relatively, like, one's 20, one's 15, but this one has one built in that you're gonna get anyway, so they're very friendly with the diamonds. As far as that currency, you have a shop here of lots of different currencies. Like this one you earn from doing the Wastelands mode. This one you earn from dismissing common champions. But this is also that other... Bloodline differentiates itself from the fact that every champion is kind of viable. You just have to change the rarities on them. This is kind of that more traditional. You're going to get a bunch of fodder champions, and you're going to pour them into the bigger champions. But overall, a great game. If you are looking to add a new game and you have... One of the reasons I also haven't done this sooner is I figured people have heard about this by now, but I talked to a friend the other day who I thought was really kind of in tune with this stuff, and they hadn't heard about it, so I wanted to bring it to you guys. It might be something that I continue to cover because as I talked about in my last video, might be kind of time to distance myself from Bloodline. Well, I'm going to be having more content on this video. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend. I'm Belligerent. Peace.